Hey, my name's Adam and today I'm going to review my Viking Profish 400 Lite because I think it's one of the best kayaks to easily load onto your car, take it to the beach and catch some big fish from the ocean. Let's get to it. So what I love the most about this kayak, it is quite light. It's around 20 kilos. I can easily get it onto my shoulder and onto my car. I can get it down to the beach and launch it really quickly, opposed to a lot of other kayaks like, you know, the Hobies or pedal kayaks or even heavier kayaks. And the other great beauty about this is it's actually set up for New Zealand conditions. It's made in New Zealand and it's really easy to launch, especially in surf. And top speed I normally get to is around 9 kilometers per hour, which is pretty fast. It gets to my destination pretty quick so I can get out and fish. But even when I'm just cruising, I'm going 5 to 7 kilometers per hour. This compared to my other kayaks is twice as fast and as easy. So I'm gonna go through from top down, going through all the different features and how I've set it up today. So I'm going to quickly run through a couple of specs here. So it's about 4.1 meters long and it's got a really nice narrow bow front area that cuts through the water nice and easy. And I generally find that the water goes over the top and not into the kayak, it goes to the side, which is really great, and that's why it's so fast. It's about 80 centimeters wide. It's actually about, I think it's 78 centimeters, which is actually creates a lot of stability out there. It's not a kayak that you can stand in, but being out there, I feel comfortable and very safe. And it weighs 24 kilos to be exact, and that's why it's so easy to get it onto your car. If you need assistance, you can leverage it and make it a lever on the ground and get it up, or you can get someone else to easily help you get it on top. Now, as I said, it's made in New Zealand, but it does have a 30-year warranty and it is a very, very popular kayak out here in Australia. So for a long time, you're going to be able to enjoy this kayak. If you like this video, make sure to like down below and subscribe and make a comment if you got any questions. I'm going to be reviewing my next Hobie outback very soon and going out to catch some big fish. So make sure you subscribe. Cheers. So at the front here, we've got a nice handle, so easy pulling across the sand. There's some bungee cord as well at the front, which allows you to put a rod in there or to put a bag in there in case you're sort of launching from the beach and if any waves come over, it's going to hold down your rod if you choose to put it there, which I generally don't. You've got a front hatch at the front, which you can use for storage, which in my case, I use for putting my battery for my sounder. But you can put anything else in there that you want to keep dry. At the front, what I'm using is an extra rod holder. Now, I don't use this rod holder for fishing. I use it just for like putting my rod in there, so then I can bait up or change any of the rigs. So essentially what's going to happen is the rod's going to go up, the line's going to come straight, so it's really easy to use. Now, it is fitted with 2 rail blazers here. I'm not sure if they come standard, but it came with it when I got it. So the main feature of this whole kayak is this tackle pod. Well, one of the main issues, the things that what a lot of people like is this tackle pod. As you can see here, I've fitted my Garmin Striker 4 to here, which is a great size for this kayak. And that feeds all the way down through the hull to have a transducer at the bottom. So that transducer is nicely tucked away. It doesn't get scratched when I run it along the beach. Now, what I really love about this pod is I can easily unattach it, you know, when I want to put it into my car or whatnot, and I can easily lift it in and out of my kayak. And then I can easily strap it back in when I want to. Now, the beauty about this pod is I can use the bait board up the top, okay? Or I can store some extra plastics or things in here. But when you open it up, this is where I've got all my knives, I've got my rigs, my bait, I've got everything, and it keeps it dry. I've actually rolled this before and everything inside here stayed completely dry. So this is amazing. It makes the whole experience of being able to go out and go fishing so much quicker. I can prepare at my dining table or outside table, put everything in there, get it all set up, and in the morning I can just grab it and plonk it back into. Another great feature of this is you've got your footrest here, which essentially controls the rudder at the back. So these are quite adjustable. You can move them up or down depending on how long your legs are, but this makes it so easy to be able to stay out there for a long time, just to make sure you've got your feet and your legs in the right position. Now, using and adjusting the rudder, which I'll quickly go through at the moment, is as simple as putting your foot down if you want to go right on this side. If you want to go left, do it the other way. So that's an awesome feature, very easy. Compared to another kayak that I got, which is just completely paddle, and I have to control my paddle, it is very, very difficult. So this allows me just to pump away, go as fast as I want, and just use that rudder to steer me in the direction I want to go. So moving on, we've got 2 rod holders here. So I'll normally stick my rods in here when I'm fishing and leave it in there. And generally, I catch my fish when they're in the rod holder. So normally I store them at the back when I'm paddling out, and then when I'm ready to fish, I move it into these 2 rod holders here, which make it really easy. Just in front of the chair here, you've got another hatch. So this hatch here, you can put another storage area, a bag. At the moment, I've got nothing because I moved the actual storage bucket from here to the front because I wanted to store my battery there, and I store most of my things in here, but you can store additional things like phone or whatnot in there as well. One thing to also note, what I actually do with the front Railblazer mounts is I also put my GoPro mount on as well. So you can stick another accessory up the front here, which then I normally record myself. So moving down to the chair, this is an upgrade. This is a Cedar Summit chair. Now, I find these is really comfortable. You can either have the chair or not. A lot of people choose not to have a chair, but then you have no padding underneath you. I prefer a little bit of support when I get out there, but it actually would be a lot easier in a lot of cases just not to have the chair at all. But I find this is great support, really comfy, and I've spent, you know, probably the longest I've been out is about 6 hours out in this kayak. Don't get me wrong, you get a little bit, you know, sore in the legs after 6 hours, but this just makes it bearable. But normally 3 to 4 hours, I'm perfectly fine. So before I move on too far down, I'm going to talk about this anchor system that's been installed. So this has been installed separately. So if I want to drift to go fishing, this is great. And when I normally drift is normally when I go along a weed bed and there's too much wind, and so I put a sea anchor on here, attach it to this trolley, and I move it to the front, to the back or the front, depending on how I want to, you know, how I want to drift and whatnot. So this is really great when I'm going for a squid, or if I'm drifting over some really amazing ground and I just want to slow that down, so to make sure I get my jig or bait or whatever I'm fishing with to the ground without it drifting too far off the back or front. So that's an awesome thing. Now on the sides, you've got 2 areas where I can easily put your paddle, depending on where you want. I normally attach a leash to my paddle as well, just to make sure that if I lose that paddle out there, then you know, it's going to come back because it's attached to a leash. So moving on to the very back, so we've got 4 rod holders at the back here, which is just plenty. So normally I'm taking 2 to 3 rods, a net with me. And yeah, this is great for if I'm trolling or just storing the rods. There's ample amount of space. Now, one thing I think is absolutely amazing about this kayak is the chill pod. So this is an additional accessory that I've added to this. But the great thing about this is I can stick some ice in here and I can easily store my fish for a few hours, and it makes it a whole lot easier when I land as well, and you know, I have caught some not quite 15 kilo fish, but thereabouts, and you stick in, you know, 1 or 2 of them and it gets quite heavy. So being able to have this chill pod to, one, keep my fish very fresh when I'm out there, and to be able to transport that quite easily is very handy. So that's something that I highly recommend to get. Otherwise, you can get sort of like a mat that goes over the back as well. Now, the rudder system not had one issue with the rudder system. So it pulls up if it hits the ground, or so it gets caught with some weed. It's really great. So I've had no problems with it at all. I've never had water get into the kayak as well. It is a strong hull. There's nothing can get in. Like other kayaks, water can be an issue getting into the hull. And I've heard a lot of people have issues sinking and whatnot. Overall, I think the reason why I chose this kayak over other kayaks to get started with was it's very easy to use. Okay, there was little things that can go wrong. It is light, and with the other Viking series, especially like the Reload and whatnot, they're just heavier, and even the normal 400, they're just that little bit heavier that makes it a little bit more difficult to transport. This here, I can literally grab and lift it above my head and put it on the car without too many dramas. But the first couple of times, I do recommend do it with someone else, just to make sure you get the technique correct. There's also a spot, a Railblazer port at the back, where you can easily store a pole or a flag if you're going out at night, a light as well. So it is set up, ready to go. For a lot of people, this can be a beginner kayak, but for a lot of people that do buy it, they will keep this in their fleet for a long, long time. Now make sure, if you like this video, to like and subscribe down below, because I'm gonna be reviewing a few more kayaks in my fleet very soon and going through the process of kayak fishing. You know, everything from launching to getting on your car to how to install a electronic unit as well. You know, all these decisions that I have to make during the whole journey, I want to make it easier for you. So make sure, get involved in the community, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Cheers.
I don't think you have seen me before. We were gonna do a video with me, but then the footage got lost.
But unfortunately, I lost my GoPro a week later and we lost all the footage.